to the Gastlecast. I'm Chris.
I'm Heather.
On this episode, we're going to talk about those awesome 2019 Fantastic Four Funko Pops. They dropped at the end of the year. We're still getting a couple of the exclusives right now in 2020. But this set is definitely one of my favorites of 2019 moving into 2020. It's an excellent set. It's a classic set. It's not focused on any of the movie stuff. It's comic book related. It's very much like the 80-year stuff. But it's its own thing. I love them. I want to talk about each and every one of them. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that little bell. That way you'll know anytime we go live or post new content like this right here. I've been wanting Fantastic Four Funko Pops for a long time. But what I love about this set is that they give you a mixture of heroes and villains.
Yes, I think that's great. I like a little bit of variety.
Me too. And it isn't often that you see this many villains in one set. Also, they gave us some really cool exclusives from some of the different stores. We have a GameStop one here, but they also dropped one at Barnes & Noble, and we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
And then a Hot Topic one as well. But also, they dropped some really cool things. It's been sort of a Fantastic Four, couple months, I guess, because we got Mystery Minis along with the Pops, and then Marvel Legends dropped a Fantastic Four set. We're going to talk about the Mystery Minis another time, and also this Doctor Doom Legends figure, because I think he's worth his own episode. The Funko Pops, however, are just so fantastic. Now, I do want to point out one thing. We did get these characters one time before. In fact, we got this character also one time before, but it wasn't the true Johnny Storm Human Torch.
What was he?
We had a Human Torch that was from an earlier comic, and I believe he was supposed to be like a robot or something. It wasn't Johnny Storm. It was not a guy from Fantastic Four. It was a completely different Human Torch, the original Human Torch. We got Silver Surfer a little while ago, and we actually had a video about him in a comparison to another Silver Surfer.
Yeah, and we did the same with Doctor Doom.
So you can check those cards out right now. They're up in the corner. You can click and go over and watch those videos after you watch this one. The Thing was one we did not cover because we do not have the original Thing. And I'm really excited because I like this Thing more than I liked any of the other Things.
Okay.
I think he's cool. They had a black and white Thing and a regular Thing like this one. I like this one as sort of like in a fighting pose.
Yeah, the original one is the fat body and his hands are by his side.
Exactly. Right? Classic Funko. Interesting thing about him, this is the last one I picked up out of this set.
Why?
He was really hard to find.
Oh.
For some reason, everywhere I went, I either found a damage box or every other character but him. I would say the Thing and Human Torch were the hardest ones to find for me. These two guys, I like them. We talked about this in the comparison video. I like them more than the original ones as well. So the lucky thing for people out there who have not gotten these original characters, the original versions of these characters, the lucky thing is they can go out and buy this set and They have the cool characters and it's like the best form of them. We have a GameStop Invisible Woman here.
Isn't she Invisible Girl?
Invisible Girl, yeah. Or she becomes Invisible Woman.
But she's girl right now.
She's girl right now.
She hasn't hit puberty yet, Chris.
But the only difference with her is her legs. That's the GameStop exclusive where she's translucent. Then we have Mr. Fantastic. He's really neat looking. He has his hands out. He's punching. He's in a fighting mode. I really like this one. I think they did a great job.
They
big
did a
fists.
Wonderful job.
Yeah, I think he looks great. They could have even made him, his body and torso kind of warped a little bit. Mm-hmm. That would have been kind of neat, or his head warped and stuff. His body can go practically anywhere. He's like a human rubber band. This guy is awesome. I love the translucent fire. I love the color. I love how bright he looks. He's just so great. I almost didn't buy this because I'm almost positive we're going to get a glow-in-the-dark.
I would say, I'm 85% certain we will.
And I'm hoping that we do. They're doing a Fantastic Four Marvel Collector Core box.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if that's what we'll get in that box. Then, of course, we talked about this guy here, the Thing. I just love his pose. I love everything about this. I think he's my top favorite of the entire line.
I love his face.
So do I. He just looks like he's battling. I would love to see a Hulk sort of in the same fighting pose, because in the comics they fight each other. And I love that there's indentations all of them. This is not just paint. This is actually indentations. This is in the mold, which I think is cool. I think that definitely adds to him. Additionally, we get a band of Misfits, and one is hilarious to me. I almost didn't even buy it, was Mole Man. He's kind of He's sort of a big deal when it comes to the Fantastic Four. He's one of their main villains, but he just seems so silly to me.
He looks like Mr. Bean meets Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he does. I do love the art, like the paint of this character, like his forehead and everything.
Yeah,
It's very comic booky.
He's very, very good looking. Aside from, I've noticed that there's overspray from his hands onto his weapon.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. That's one of those things that you kind of have to focus on when you're buying them. Mm-hmm. I'm not very good at that. Typically, if I find it, I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and I bring it home, and then I'll notice stuff like that down the road. But it doesn't really matter.
Well, who knows? They might all have that.
We have this Super Skrull, and man, he is so neat. Heather, you were actually looking at this before we recorded today.
Yes.
And you noticed that, wow, he has a thing arm. Oh, that's cool. And, oh, he has an invisible leg. And the stretchy arm. And then stretchy arm's on fire like the Human Torch. Well, this guy is copying all of our heroes.
So, I only know Skrull from Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the Skrull had dressed up as, was it Nick Fury?
Yes. In the film, they make you feel like they're the villains. And in the end, they're not. In the comic book, they're the villains.
Right.
So they might have a change of heart in the film series. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I have a feeling the Fantastic Four will tie in with all of that.
Okay.
That's when I think all these changes will be made. And maybe the Super Skrull will then appear as well. The colors are great on these, aren't they?
I love the colors.
How bright they are.
His colors are my favorite.
Yeah, he just looks so good. Heather pointed out that he looks like Green Goblin. And he does.
He
actually
looks a lot like Green Goblin.
It's almost as if they cut off the little tail on his hat and they just put a Green Goblin head on there. That's kind of what it looks like. So then we also have Galactus, which this character kind of bummed me out. I love this, okay? I love the mold. I love the look. Really, really, really wished that we had gotten a larger version. Galactus is like a planet eater. He's huge. He's humongous. It would have been really nice if we could have gotten a 6 or 10 inch of this character.
That would be cool.
Or an 18 inch.
My thoughts with the 18-inch one is until they put out a Fantastic Four movie and people fall in love with this character, they're not going to try to put out a $100 Galactus pop.
Cool character. And I really wish that we had gotten that 10 inch, but maybe we will. I don't know. You're right. Maybe popularity will change later down the road, and everybody in the world will know this guy like they know Thanos, and then we'll end up getting a bigger, larger version of him. They made a large version of the Thing, which we're getting from Target. Kind of wish they just said, okay, Thing's cool and all, but let's make Galactus. It makes more sense.
The Thing, has he been in any Marvel movies?
So they made Marvel films that were based on the Fantastic Four, but they're not in the MCU.
Okay, so they are poop.
You mean the movies?
Yeah.
They weren't very good. At the time, they were okay because it's what we had. But nowadays, in comparison to what we have, no, not so much. Doctor Doom looks great. We've talked about him in our comparison video. I love this one. I think he stands out in this particular set. His colors are great. We've needed a new iteration of this character, just like we did the Thing. What I'm thinking is that they are trying to amp us up right now, with the Fantastic Four, because the MCU is probably soon to unveil them in their films, in some way, shape, or form. They're about to come out, and I think that the studio and Marvel want to get us kind of in touch with these characters. People buy these figures and then figure out who they are and read their backstories, because that does part of the job for them when they're making the films. You go see the movie and you have Galactus shows up in the film, say, they're like, well, who the hell's Galactus? Well, let's give them characters and all these toys first. They're going to do their homework, and then when they come and see our film, they'll have an idea who Galactus already is.
Yeah, and it's a bit easier to understand.
Absolutely. Silver Surfer, I love this one. I love this version of him. You happen to like the old one when we talked about him in our comparison video.
Except I did wish the old one had a stand.
And I wish that the new one had a different surfboard, because this surfboard, to me, just looks like a boogie board. It just looks like crap.
It looks like a skateboard with no wheels.
Exactly. It's exactly what it looks like. So I'm not a big fan of that, but I do love the figure. I love the stance. And I love the look of him. I think he is fantastic.
He's not as colorful as the other ones, which, I mean, how can you make Silver Surfer as colorful as the others? But he does not stand out.
You're right on the money with that, and I couldn't figure out why. And you're right. It's because of the colors. Now that you're saying that, I completely agree. Now, there are other exclusives that we do not have here, aside from the 10-inch that we talked about. Thing wearing a jacket, like an overcoat and a hat. That's from Barnes & Noble.
Right. I've seen pictures
so
of
that one's in. It's releasing now. We also have a Johnny Storm, which is this guy here, Human Torch. And it's a human version where he's lighting up.
Is he a young guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Very young, cocky guy.
So are the... No, this isn't mom and dad.
This is his sister.
Okay. So
These
that's
two are brother and sister. This is...
Dad.
No.
What?
This is... No. He is with her. They're a couple.
Oh, so they're boyfriend and girl.
And this is a friend of...
But this is girl.
Reed Richards.
Why does he have gray on his head? Is that not gray? Is that just his
gray.
superhero?
He looks cool. He's got that dad look.
But she's girl.
She likes it though. Listen, we have 7 years between us. We got the same situation going on.
Yeah, you
if I grow my hair out, I got gray on my sides too.
Yeah.
So let's not talk shit about this guy.
I'm 12 and you got gray hair. Who did you say he is?
His name is Ben Grimm. He's a friend of this guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Thing and this guy they're friends.
But is he a person?
He is a person, but he gets turned into rock. They go into space and everything goes wrong, and they end up getting
their powers.
Chain.
But he's rock forever.
He's rock forever.
Now, is he torch forever, or
yes.
is that just his superpower?
That's his superpower, but he can go human, like I'd mentioned before.
So he's not torch forever. I mean, he is.
Oh, you mean he's not torch all the time? He can turn it on and off.
So he can't.
Ben Grimm cannot.
Okay.
And a lot of his storylines have been him trying to turn back into a human. This is an epic set.
It is.
And like I said, I believe that this is the gateway to the MCU. I think we got these guys because eventually the MCU will bring these characters to life, and we kind of have to know who these guys are. And my guess would be we would get somebody like this guy here as a first villain, or, this guy here. We would get one of these guys. They use Doctor Doom a lot in the films and in the comic books. He's overused. So it would be very cool if they introduce a villain like this.
Yeah.
And we had him, and that's how the first movie opens, and it's a really goofy villain. It makes it a little bit comedic. You have these characters. It could almost be a comedy, because these characters get these powers, and they're like, mother effer, what happened to us? Like, what are we going to do now? How are we going to change back? This is the villain. The Mole Man.
Yeah,
I think it would be great.
Yeah, that's weird.
And
he's sort of like Barney Rubble.
Who?
Mole Man.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Do you know what Barney Rubble looks like?
No, like he's f***ing goofy and out of place. Like the same as Barney Rubble coming in and fighting the Fantastic Four.
What? What do you think about this awesome new Fantastic Four Funko Pop set? Aren't they amazing? We would love to know your thoughts and more down in the comment section below. Remember, as always, we hunt together. Yes. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.